How you feeling going into SEC?
I'm excited. We had a great preparation today and spirited. That was kind of the spirit was the word today, and started with infield, outfield just to get guys flying around. So we've worked hard for a long time, like other ball clubs, to be playing for something. It's second wind, whatever you'd call it, like the runner when you think, man, maybe you can't go anymore, and then it hooks up a second wind. So we're trying to sell that with our ball club heading into arguably the best amateur tournament that exists on the planet. So yeah, take a little second wind, had great preparation, good spirit from the ball club, and excited to get on the bus and go up and see the venue. It's a pretty amazing place to play. It's been there so long that Hoover is like synonymous with Omaha, and the fanfare, the RV, the fields they have down below. It's just it's an amazing experience, and with over half of this team being new, they get to experience it for the first time.
Have you spoken to your team any about, it's been since '98, I guess 25 years since y'all won SEC tournament?
Well, we probably could keep working hard in the classroom, but I think they can all read and write, and you guys do such a good job. And college baseball is covered so much better now than it's ever been. These guys they're reading, they know. I just keep them on I pull things too, because I didn't know that going into till I get some information and see things. I'll pull one or two threads, but these guys are, when I'm sitting at home with my girls, or if I'm here with this ball club, if we're not in a meeting or on the field or something, if you're just walking through the locker room, if there's 10 guys in there, 9 of them has a phone about 3 inches from their face. So they're aware, they know.
Speaking of being aware, I saw that D1 Baseball had y'all as a number 12 national seed, I believe. What does that mean to you, the way you finished, to have that feedback?
We finished as strong as we could after the first half. I mean, basically, I thought the team, even the benchmark and the goal that we set for them, they shattered that. So kudos to the team, and that's some of the noise that I'm talking about, where just you can't control everything, and it is out of our control. So that'll go to a committee, and every team is logged whatever they've done the entire year and put forth a resume, if you will. And I think the SEC tournament's big is how I'd answer the question. I still think there's a lot out there. We're absolutely feel like we're playing for something, and Missouri, we're playing them again. It'll be the 4th game in a row that both teams are playing for something, but really this whole tournament has great meaning, and as far as seeding, positioning, you can continue to build your resume. So I think there's as much interest in this SEC tournament as there has been in the past few years.
You feel like Vale's ready to go, and will he start?
I do. I feel like we're selling it as he did a bullpen the other day. I thought, and with his approval, he looked like Casper, the little friendly ghost when I grew up. I don't know if Casper's still around or not, but so we just used that as his bullpen, threw a couple innings for us, and gave us everything he had. And absolutely, that's us putting our best foot forward. There's no, you got to go do this, you got to do that. That's not how we've been winning games. It's been, it's been on the process, and there's only one game to play. Be yourself. Once we felt like we found ourselves, then that's the place we want to stay. So we need to be ourselves tomorrow. Every game for the rest of the year for the Auburn Tigers is trying to do everything we can to stay on process and get favorable outcomes when we look up at the end of the day. So we got to make sure we train that, not feel like we got to, again, not do more, not take the foot off the gas, because it's hard to get it back. It took us a half a season, well, half of SEC play. I think we started off the season fine, but it took us that half of SEC play to kind of find ourselves. We're not going to confuse things now.
Which, how important is that? You mentioned that a bunch the last half of this SEC season about don't try to do more than you're doing already. Is that the message now for this team? Just, hey, just give me what you've been giving me?
I've been blessed with 9 World Series as an assistant and head coach and everywhere in between. I would say experience has said whenever you come out of one of those and you tried to go like, we have to do more, that's forcing the game and hadn't been great outcomes. It makes things harder. Just once you find a good rhythm and you feel like everybody is playing toward their upper realm, especially collectively as a team, you want to stay. You want to be the same, and that's really all we're trying to do.
You had 3 players honored by the conference today. Your reaction to those 3 being received?
Yeah, I want them all. I want. Now's a good place to use the word more. But those guys are so deserving. And buddy, you play in the league. We won 17 conference games and we're the 5th seed. That's how good this conference is. You start going players around the field, and that Bryson Ware's good. He's 2nd team. Oh my gosh. Tommy White's a pretty good ball player. He's knocked in a bunch of runs. And you start going around the field and you do that, and you see how awesome of a league that you're a part of, that you play in, and how many great players. I go back and reference opening day Major League, opening day rosters with 88 former SEC baseball players. That's where we reside in. Ike Irish has been great. I think he was named the Freshman of the Week this week, George, if that's right. I think that's his 3rd time in this freshman campaign. That's awesome, and I think, I've overdone it with Case and Howell. Anything that comes his way is positive, and he's so deserving, and I think he's respected. I think the references you're making about the all-SEC teams today is from our coaches in our league. So we got 3 of them, and that's a big honor.
How important it's, you mentioned a lot of new players, but you got a lot of veteran guys. How important are those guys in what can be long days at Hoover when you're waiting for weather and things like that? How important are those veteran guys to let guys kind of know what to expect and how to handle it?
Yeah, it's the thermostat, right? So we had some air problems here a few weeks ago, and it was smoking hot, and I think the maintenance guy said, "Okay, you're talking about how hot it is in here. Watch this." So now we got jackets on. It's cold in there. The point is the same guys, the Caissons, the LaRue, the Pierce. Those guys set the temperature. They set the rhythm, and all these other guys have to do. They've gotten in such a good leadership position. All these guys have to do is get with them. They have the temperature of the room set, and all they have to do is watch your example, because these guys, our leaders, are locked in. You need your best players to play great, and then there's coach speak. And then if your best people are your best players, that's another good way to go about things. And we have a lot of that going on. So they set the rhythm, and they'll absolutely keep these guys in check. And as strong as any time I can ever remember, I think the whole team, I can just see it without having to say anything, that they have the voice of the masses. So as they do stuff, I think they're being followed, as well as I've seen a group of players, a team follow a handful of leaders.
I know you're probably thinking about it a game at a time, but what's maybe the most difficult part of having to take a team to Hoover and trying to string a few together there?
I mean, we've been there, right? So 18, 19, those were kind of must wins for our season to continue. Absolutely been in the middle of that. 21 limping in, barely got there. And last year, losing a game. So it's been a couple of years. I hope there's a little hunger, a little fight. But yeah, we can't look past Tuesday. We were in this 5-12 game last year and lost it. And it was the same kind of scenario. We just played Kentucky a series and walked right to the SEC tournament and played them. We just played Missouri a series, and here we walk right in and going to play them again. The only other thing I told the team today is, it's not like a new game. This is a continuation of a series. We've just taken maybe it's rained a couple of days, and this is game 4. And so Tommy Vale's fixing to try to go through the lineup a second time. He needs to pick up where he left off mentally. Had this happen a few years ago in Omaha, and first game of the World Series, had a starter go about 6 or 7. And then when we got to the end of that bracket, we had to play that same team again. It was the PAC champion, I think, at the time. And so, when you're seeing somebody again in just a few days, man, we picked up and we started to open the second game. We threw them the 4th at bat and the 5th at bat. So that's how we're going to approach it from a ball club. Some of our hitters are about to walk into their 14th, 15th, 16th at bat, and it's the last game they played. And so Missouri and that pitching staff's been working them and finding sequences. So to me, this is more of a professional baseball concept where we're picking up a fourth game in a series here, as opposed to a new game. So I don't know how they're going to play it, but those are the things that I talked about today instead of just going out and starting another game, because I think their starting pitcher started a game against us this weekend, Vail threw, and I think both sides. Every pitch being thrown late tomorrow night may be from a pitcher that we've already seen on both sides in this most recent 3-game series. So I think there's it'll be interesting to see the gamesmanship there. All right, I was pitched this way and this is where they got me out. Will they continue, or has somebody been in the cage working on that to take that away? And who's going to outthink, or who's going to overthink, or you have all those things in play. But it's interesting playing the same team for sure.
You mentioned having all those new guys, and does losing that May 9th game against Samford, does that change how you prepare to take all these guys into the Hoover Met for the first time? Because that's something that you guys tend to do a lot, is schedule a late season Hoover game.
Yeah, we had to, we scheduled that game to get into the confines, and we actually practiced here today. So we forfeited our time schedule, or that 50 minutes. We thought we could get more work in, and we thought we've already put a little leg work in. We've already went and taken batting practice on the lower fields. We've already went over to the field and thrown and taken infield, outfield. So we thought we did everything but play a game. So just from the economics of things and wanting to get a certain amount of stuff, I mean, we're trying to prepare and plan to be there for a while. So we went and did a lot of fundamental stuff today and extended our practice. So we feel like we got more work coming off of an off day yesterday. And we feel like we did enough of that trip, even though we didn't get the first pitch, that we put enough hay in the barn that we'll be okay in the environment, okay in the setting.
Joseph Gonzalez, Tommy Sheehan both went out underwent surgery last week.
Yeah, both had procedures. Both, I think, went good. Tommy just battled. He had come to us already having an elbow surgery, and I wish he got to the end of last year and gave us 5 postseason appearances, and I hope he never regrets. And we just limped it all year long. I think Alabama was his last outing, and I just, without ever saying it, was just kind of an uncle moment. Just that's enough. He has fought. He's had a great career prior to coming here. Hope he had a great experience last year, and to be able to hold his kids and play in the backyard someday and move on, went ahead and took care of Tommy from that standpoint. They'll both be going with us on this trip. They both mean a lot to me and this team. Joseph, we kicked the can since January. We waited. We tried to ramp it up twice. I don't think there's anything that was misled or wasn't given out at the proper time. So just kept feeling a little something there, and it was about as minor as you could do as far as the surgery. So, and Joseph was a shoulder, so we think he is going to be great. And I would just say impingement, that's a doctor's word, is what I would say. And I would just say it was minor, but it was there, and it's taken care of by the best orthopedic surgeon in the world, and Dr. Andrews. And spoke to him, and a great future for Joseph, and but needed to be back full speed. And the first thing you need to do is get healthy. So he might have a fork in the road coming up. Is it a return to Auburn? Is it start a professional career? But this has been the right decision, and it's been taken care of this past week to whichever, if he veers left or veers right. This will help him get back sooner.
Hope to get Herbert Holtz throwing a little bit this week. Is that kind of the plan?
Yeah, I think I told you we'd probably sit last week, and we'd probably sit this week. We probably got to make the determination. He is throwing again, so with no discomfort, and we'll probably have to make a decision here tomorrow before first pitch, because when you hand that lineup in tomorrow night, it sets you for the whole tournament.
Okay.
So I would say there's an outside chance if you make decisions planning on playing an entire tournament. I think that's what we're doing. Those are our intentions. So there's a slight chance that we would have him, toward the weekend. Keep playing, if not hold him for a regional. But I think tomorrow a little bullpen work is going to determine that. So we're a day away from making that decision, but as you can tell, that's already sped up the timeline a little bit because he's not feeling anything in his 2 or 3 throwing sessions, but he has not thrown a pin yet since he pitched at Ole Miss or come out of that game.